Well, let me.
So,
Yeah, it's totally amazing. Let me ask you this then, and this maybe it's because in Aikido we're doing this all the time, and
hmm
yet, and yet,
and yet,
many
and yet,
Aikidokas, people who practice Aikido
yeah.
have as many challenging situations in their daily life as anybody else, and sometimes even more. Because
hmm
you develop this whole identity, especially when you get skilled and good, and if you're a
Yeah,
teacher, forget it, because
yeah.
the hierarchy really protects you from a lot of stuff. And I
hmm
noticed the same thing in meditation with meditators, that there's that there's a bit of a spiritual bypass that can happen
hmm
around maybe there's a certain avoidance, not avoidance, but this idea that, okay, now that I'm walking a spiritual path, things shouldn't get messy because I'm
It's just exactly the opposite. Yeah. It's
shit.
exactly the opposite. In fact, I always tell my students, I say, the good news is you're developing these skill sets. The bad news is now you're going to have to use them. And not only that,
Shit.
it's like,
Yeah, right. You're going to use them in
eh,
real life, not in a
seriously,
model. Yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah. And I think there's a line. I think it may be from Rilke. I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure if it's
Okay.
Rilke or Goethe,
Okay.
one or the other. But basically, the idea is, may I be defeated by greater and greater enemies.
Wow. That's beautiful. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So the
What
idea
a
is that,
wish, huh? What a wish.
yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't
yeah.
even wish that on another person, much less wish it on myself. But I'm going to
Oh.
start doing that. I'm going to start wishing it not only for myself, but for those people that I feel are up to the challenge.
And there may be. I mean, I think about, of course, and I don't know because I've never been in, intimate company of a saint, like a real saint.
Yeah.
But I think about somebody like Ramana Maharshi, and he had this incredible enlightenment, and then he was happy to sit on his sacred mountain, and people came to visit him, and he didn't appear to be struggling. So it could be that there is some moment or some way in which the struggle totally disappears. So I think there's a paradox. I think there's great struggle
Yeah.
because evolution moves through struggle. Struggle is how evolution and development happen. And at the same time, maybe we get deeper and deeper into that place that's beyond the struggle. In fact, Musho, the name that my teacher gave me, is in Japanese, is both no conflict, no struggle, or the very mind of enlightenment.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I think it's both. We keep being defeated by greater and greater enemies, and at the same time, we start to experience that still place that's beyond good and bad. So the struggle doesn't feel wrong to us anymore.
Well, okay.